That's been said to me a lot of times. When we went to BravoCon, they said point blank, come back on the show. So there's no underlying, malice there. She was very blunt in her desire for me to go back on the show. So no big secrets, no big, no, it's fine. Yeah.
What about, a lot of people are saying, it's 10 years, it's time. Like you said, sometimes it's time to just call it, even though you are a family, just kind of move past things and come back in the future. A lot of people are saying that this is the last season for Melissa and Joe because of that. Teresa's obviously not going anywhere on the show. And this relationship and story for this point has played out, and everyone's saying this is Melissa's last season. Like, what do you think of that?
Listen, you're not going to know what's happening till the last. It's a Hail Mary pass. You don't know what's going to happen till this show airs and how it's received and what the people at Bravo are thinking when they sit around their table and discuss things. There's so many moving parts to this. So I think anyone would be foolish to make a judgment call at this point in the game, because I think they're only a few shows in. Am I wrong? I don't even know how many shows,
It's
would
we're like in the middle, but we haven't filmed the reunion, and I think the reunion carries a lot of weight, right, as to what happens.
so much more can happen. So it's a fool's game to suggest that at this point. Yeah.
I love it. Well, one person, it recently came out on Watch What Happens Live that Danielle Cabral, we all know, is your step niece. Andy, I guess, revealed to her that he called you, or Bravo called you, and you gave your stamp of approval. Why, like, we're loving, as an audience, people are loving Danielle. Like, why do you think Danielle makes a good, I mean, you are an OG, we do look to you for advice, Caroline. Like, why do you think Danielle makes a good RHONJ?
Because she just puts it out there. She doesn't care. So she's in your face. She's opinionated. She's got a big personality. So I thought that she would be an interesting addition to the cast.
Have you heard from her? Has she checked in with you since she's started this journey?
No, interestingly enough, the last time I heard from her was when she was cast. And of course, I had spoken to, Andy prior, during, and all that kind of stuff, and about her. And she was cast, and then I think they introduced her to Teresa, and she hit it off with Teresa. And that's the last time I heard from her. So she is, yeah.
Has she gone over to the dark side, Caroline?
What? Who knows?
She,
Will
time will tell, right?
tell. Yeah.
She is so like what? Like, she went on the show, hit it off with Teresa, and then that's the last time you heard from her.
I heard from her. Yeah.
What advice did you give her advice, or what advice would you give her if she called you and said,
I think I told her that she has to be prepared for a tsunami of opinions, and a lot of them she's not going to like. So you have to be very, very strong. Especially now again, we talk about social media where it is now. So you have to be very, very strong, and keep your feet on the ground, and don't forget where you came from. This is a blip. You're here one day, gone tomorrow. It could be easily just as easily as that. And just enjoy the ride too, because it's fabulous at the same time.
that's good advice? I mean, like, when people join this show just from doing what I'm doing, they often ask me for advice, and that's the best. I think that's the best advice. Like, I have the same philosophy on life that you do. None of this really matters, where health is what counts. This is a blip. It'll be a beginning, a middle, and an end for everybody. You have to just realize this. I mean, it's clear that you realize that. It's clear that your family is thick as thieves, and your family is what gets you out of bed in the morning. Why do you think so many of these women that come into this, world, not even just for RHONJ, lose sight of that, and just the show is number one?
It's funny. I think I can only speak to myself. I never aspired to be famous. It was never, when the show came to me, it just fell into my lap. I didn't want it, kept falling into my lap, kind of thing. And I decided, okay, take it and see where you land, kind of thing. Even now, it's like, I don't need to be seen. I don't need to be that girl. I'm happy to stay in the background kind of thing. I think a lot of people that go on television need to have that desire to be seen. So when you get to a point in Housewives, you got to remember we're just normal women walking around every day, and all of a sudden you're thrown into this arena where you become literally famous overnight. So you really have to be grounded in who you are and know what life is about. Otherwise, you could be taken on a ride that one day you're going to get dumped, because we all do, in one way or another. I wasn't dumped, but you know what I mean. My story ended. All right. And it's a very harsh reality, even for me, that I walked away from Housewives and seeing how quickly you're forgotten. And I'm somebody that didn't care. It's a hard fall when you're up there. And so I think a lot of them have to really, and it would be nice if they kept each other grounded, but it's more of a competition than anything else. It's like who can look better and who could have the most fabulous outfit and who could have that moment kind of thing. And that's all well and good, and I think that's has a time and place. But it would be nice if we could be more positive too as human beings towards each other at the same time. So I think when you get into this world of Housewives and the fame, it could really mess with your head, really mess with your head. You're riding so high, and you think, well, I'm going to stay up here forever. No, the biggest and the best fall and are forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, look at Lisa Rinna. She's gone.
Mhm.
But I agree. Like, if you don't, you have to have like the true self inside. And if you don't, and there is that thing that you need the external validation, like this is the drug that will give it to you because people are telling you how wonderful and great you are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right, the yes people, and that's what ruins a lot of friendships, because you have these yes people around you, and if you're foolish enough to believe the yes people, and you forget the people that have been with you all your life, that's sad. But that happens to a lot of them. That's what happens to relationships and marriages and everything else. You believe the hype. And it's funny because I always tell my kids, and this is something we positioned in our minds many years ago. When people would say negative things, don't listen to them. When people say net positive things, it's the same thing, because you don't know me. So you're saying these wonderful things about me, and I appreciate you, but I could be the most rotten person on the planet. So you got to be in the middle, like a no man's land, and appreciate them, and thank you so much. But at the same time, it's all smoke and mirrors when you think about it.
I 100% say that all the time. That is exactly, I totally agree. You can't believe all the positive either. Love it, but you don't really know me and I'll take it. And really what you're saying is I'm doing my job well. I'll take that and we'll move on. I totally agree. Well, you've been off, you and Teresa obviously have fallen out. We all know that, you came together, you filmed a Super Bowl commercial, BravoCon. Like, where are you with Teresa today? Where would you say you are?
I don't think either of us even think about each other.